talking about how to spark or ignite leadership development in your organization. I really hope you see yourself and all the things that you do as opportunities to lead. And if you can do that, you can ignite this mindset in your organization just by helping remove the idea that leadership is about title. The best organizations, going back to my Marine Corps experience, are ones where everybody feels empowered to lead. When I transitioned out of the military and got my very first job and started working in the corporate sector, I realized quite quickly that it was those leadership lessons I had learned that were so just profound and they carried with me. Things like integrity, loyalty, honesty, passion. Those aren't any behaviors tied to positional authority. Those are choices. And what we're really calling for to inspire leadership development in our organization is to help serve. And that really is what human resources professionals do. We facilitate the development of others. But I'm going to focus on one of these leadership development behaviors that I believe couldn't be on higher demand in our organizations to help facilitate learning, help to facilitate development, help build our cultures to make people have the right motivation to grow and develop. And it is the concept of service-based leadership. So when I graduated college, I was sent off to a 6-month infantry training school, and there was one instructor in particular who scared me to death. His name was Captain Harper, but he didn't go by that. He called himself Coca-Cola because he was the real thing. You can imagine the ego on that guy. You know, he was 5'4", just about an inch taller than me, but I don't think anybody had ever told him that because he walked around like he was 7 feet tall, like he was the real deal. And I would see him counsel and hold my colleagues accountable. And I wanted to make sure that he never saw me make a mistake, because that guy was on it, and he was everything you'd expect him to be. He was tough. There was one day, though, I was sitting in a classroom with about 200 of my colleagues, and our instructor had a note passed to him. He opened it up, read it, and looked at me and goes, "Hey, Lieutenant, you need to go down and see Captain Harper." And in an instant, my heart sunk to my stomach. I mean, it felt like physically, like I got punched in the gut. And all I could think about was, oh dear God, what did I do? I can still feel, 20 plus years later, the nerves, the trepidation, how scared I was going to his office. I knock on the door. I report in, and he says, "Angie, sit down," which made it worse, right? What was I going to hear that I needed to be seated for? And he starts off in this weird tone, a tone in his voice I'd never heard before. It sounded oddly like compassion, and it caught my attention right away. And he said, "Angie, I've got some really sad news I have to tell you. I just got off the phone with your mother, and your grandmother has passed away. Now, what can I do to get you to be home with your family right now?" And before I could even say anything, he started to say, "Angie, well, let me tell you what I've already done. There's a ticket waiting for you at Washington Reagan. I called your parents to let them know when you're going to be arriving home. I've got a colleague outside the door. He's going to take you to your apartment and then drive you to the airport after you've packed. Called your training officer. He knows what's going on. He'll be fine with your absence. And Angie, this Marine Corps, it's an interesting organization. I don't know how we've done it, but somehow we've succeeded 225 years without you. You're going to be on for a couple of weeks. Don't worry about it. We will be okay." It probably were going to be a little bit better with my absence, to tell you the truth. But wow, in an instant, in my moment of need, this guy showing up in a significant way. I get back home, northern Michigan, to be with my family. I walk into the door, and as soon as I got there, it was a wonderful reunion with them. But right behind me is a knock. And a flower delivery man came in the door with the largest bouquet of flowers I'd ever seen in my entire life. I opened up the card, and of course it was from Captain Harper and my colleagues at the basic school. And much to my delight and surprise, I later learned that apparently it wasn't just me who was intimidated by Captain Harper, because to pay for the flowers, he had passed a hat around my classroom or mate's office and asked them to donate. And so, judging by his request, people gave very generously to him. I share that story with you because I learned so much from this man. I learned that to be a leader, you can be tough. You can have high standards, you can hold people accountable to them, but if at the end of the day, you're not serving them, you're never going to be able to build a team, or at least a team where in the thick of a fight, they're going to be there for you.